Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now guys, anybody that is of the view that Nigeria has a president should immediately check himself or herself into the nearest psychiatric unit and stay there till the lead psychiatrist of that unit certifies them as being fit to join the rest of society. Because if you are of the view that Nigeria has a president, then you are not 100%. And I can cite you several examples that make the point, but I will cite you to the incident that happened in Lagos. You all know it, in Abule Ado. That's one. And then the incident that is happening globally too. So those are the two things that we're going to be focusing on in this video. And actually, let me just get into the piece that I'm about to read you first, and then we'll discuss it a bit more. PDP slams President Buhari for not visiting victims of Abule Ado explosion. So that's the headline that we are contending with, and that is, of course, what's excited this video. That's the inspiration for it. So the headline again: PDP slams President Buhari for not visiting victims of Abule Ado explosion. So I shall read you the piece in a moment, but let me speak on the picture that you're looking at on your screen. You all, of course, know what happened in Abule Ado when there was a pipeline explosion that caused a lot of havoc in that place, including people having to pay the ultimate price and properties being destroyed, etc. So now, if this happened anywhere else in the world, and when I'm saying anywhere else in the world, because when people say anywhere else in the world, you immediately have your thoughts towards Western country. I'm not talking about Western countries alone. I'm talking about anywhere else in the world outside of Nigeria. If this happens in any other country, the president of that country will be on the first flight to that spot to show face and empathize with the people. So what has our own so-called president, Malam Buhari, done? He has sent instead for the governor of that state to bring photos of the incident to come and show him, and you say, hey, yeah, is this really it? The photos are serious. So this is a man that could have gotten on the plane, but of course we know he's not of a full fitness of body and mind, so he can't really physically get on that plane, because it takes, of course, a cabinet full of medication for this guy to move anywhere. So to move him out of that Aso Rock is an operation in itself. So now let's not get into what's being said regarding this particular headline. The People's Democratic Party (PDP) has described as embarrassing President Buhari's attitude to the Abule Ado explosion in Lagos State. In a statement released by its spokesman, Kola Ologbondiyan, on Tuesday morning, the PDP condemned President Buhari for not going to Lagos to sympathize with the victims of the incident. The party said it is strange that a leader could remain distant and not deem it fit to personally identify with the victims through a visit, but prefer to wait in the comfort of Aso Rock Presidential Villa to be presented with photographs of the ugly incident. So now here is the PDP statement in full. The People's Democratic Party (PDP) has charged President Muhammadu Buhari to end his embarrassing lethargic approach to governance and the welfare of Nigerians, and immediately proceed to Lagos to reassure Nigerians over the horrendous Abule Ado explosion that killed many of our compatriots and injured and rendered many more homeless. The party said with such a national calamity and attendant loss of lives and property, it is indeed strange that a leader could remain distant and not deem it fit to personally identify with the victims through a visit, but prefer to wait in the comfort of Aso Rock Presidential Villa to be presented with photographs of the ugly incident. The PDP holds as unfortunate that Buhari presidency always waits to be reminded or prodded before identifying with our citizens and taking up responsibility whenever our nation is confronted with critical issues that directly affect the well-being and security of Nigerians. Nigerians had expected Mr. President to always lead from the front on serious national issues, as he promised. But this had not been the case, resulting in leadership failure and myriads of security, economic, environmental, and political problems that had bedeviled our nation in the last 5 years. The PDP therefore urged President Muhammadu Buhari's handlers to immediately schedule a visit to Abule Ado, Lagos, so that Mr. President can have an on-the-spot assessment of the horrific incident and take corresponding action to avert a future reoccurrence. The party also called for a forensic investigation into the spate of explosions, particularly the Abule Ado disaster, given the conflicting reports on the cause of the incident. The explosion in Abule Ado on Sunday, March 15, left 18 people dead and destroyed over 50 houses. So now this is really the situation that we find ourselves in Nigeria. So this guy, he doesn't even have the concept that he should visit that place, because of course Lagos is such a distant place, it might as well be a foreign country. And Lagos, of course, is full of Yoruba people as well, who are essentially foreign to him as well. So to all intents and purposes, this might as well be Benin Republic or Togo or Ghana or whatever, for all he knows, or for all that he does in his senses, so that he then imagine that. Remember when some building burnt down in I can't quite remember the name. It was like a cathedral, like very old building in France. The whole nation came to a halt. The president of France was there immediately. If anything like this happens, the American president is there immediately. In the UK, he's a bit slower, but he gets there eventually. But this guy, our own dear leader, Malam Buhari, what does he do? He will send for photographs and say, hey, you people in Lagos, what are you doing? Whatever, I can't mimic his accent because, of course, he's a foreigner to me too. So this is now what is going on now. So again, I said I was citing two examples, and I'm going, of course, to the current situation that the world finds itself in, when virtually, again, every leader, and I'm again saying every leader outside of Nigeria, I'm not just talking about Western leaders, because the South Africans came out recently, the Ghanaians are taking positions, but what is the Nigerian position on the global incident? Because the South Africans that have now banned flights from key countries not to come into their space until the world has a better understanding and their country has better preparation to handle this sort of situation that the world is in. So they've come out with a public pronouncement. Every other country has taken a public position, but what is the position of Nigeria? The Lagos state governor will go to the international airport and go and hand out 10,000 naira to staff and show off and say, oh, you people, you have to be watching them. What is the custom officer knowing about what is going on? What training, what understanding does it have in terms of vetting people to check for what systems are in place? No systems in place, no ban in place, but they will close the border in Yoruba land so that Yoruba people cannot get in rice, and because they think they are going to bring in stuff for the Nnamdi Kanu and his people, so they are shutting down Yoruba land and opening up their own border in the north for them to be weighing down to the south. That is their own understanding. So maybe this guy now thinks that this global situation is something that the Fulani headsmen will deal with if it comes to Nigeria. Maybe he thinks this is, I don't know what the thinking is, because of course there is no thinking. So I go back to my opening proposition that whoever is of the thought that Nigeria has a president, that person should immediately check himself or herself into a psychiatric unit, because that person is not 100% in the head. So what is your thoughts on this? And why is this guy so lethargic, by the way? It's really, but then of course, if anything happens in France, the Nigerian presidency will immediately change its logos to the silhouette of the French flag and show empathy and say the Nigerian people sympathize with France, etc. And then they will put weeping faces and all the ministers will be talking about France. But Abule Ado is just I don't think it's 2 hours flight from Abuja, but he can't get on the plane to go and see for himself. Just for that sort of photo opportunity. So they will hail him, Mr. President, we know you are a bokeh, but at least you are pretending. So keep on pretending. At least now you have seen it. Maybe he will jar enough in you to do something about it. But does he really care? He doesn't really care. This guy does not really care about anything, because you don't really see this guy that much outside of Aso Rock, except of course he's going to his own people, like in Kebbi State and Kogi State and Katsina State, to go and do one thing or the other. But you don't really see him in the southern regions of the country, because he has no real affinity, no real feel for the people, because he considers them to be conquered people, of course, and he's already put his agents in place. The commissioners of police in virtually all the southern states is a Malami. So he already has put his agents in place to have the whip hand over the people in the south, and they have weighed in a good quantity of Fulani headsmen as well, for you to have something to busy yourself with, whilst they busy themselves with the looting that goes on in Aso Rock. Conversations in the comment section. Nigeria does not have a president is what I am proposing to you. What says you? Come share thoughts about all this with me in the comment section. But before you do that, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. Bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Then come tell me what your expectation is of a president of a nation in the comment section. So I'll leave you here. Carry this conversation with you in the comment section. But here I say peace.